Durban conference is rotten to its core, and any of its follow-up events are the fruits of a poisonous tree. An anti-Semitic hate fest, no matter how noble or important its original goals, should not be commemorated, except as a tragic error never to be repeated.
Azzam Tamimi is a British-Palestinian academic and political activist. Azzam, welcome to the programme. It was the 2001 meeting when this Durban Declaration singled out Israel as racist. I mean, is Israel kind of drawing an equation between anti-Semitic and racist? I mean, no one likes to be called racist, but that's what came out of the Durban Declaration. And now the Israelis say, well, this is just an anti-Semitic forum.
I think what Israel has been doing is equating itself with Semitism. So any criticism of Israel is considered by them as anti-Semitic. And this is a weapon they use to silence people. The 2001 conference was truly a historic milestone, because if you remember, 10 years earlier, the South African people were struggling against a regime that was exactly the same replica or copy of what Israel is today, or was during the time when that conference was convened. It's very simple, but regrettably, the countries that oppose the conference or condemn the conference are the same regimes that used to support apartheid in South Africa. They are racist to the core. And only when public opinion changed and when the people of South Africa succeeded in their struggle against apartheid and racism, that they changed their positions. Remember that Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan considered Nelson Mandela to be a terrorist. But to the eyes of the world, he was a great hero. He was a champion of human rights and of the struggle for justice.
Yeah, it's interesting how you point out Israel's use of the defense almost of its decisions when it thinks things are anti-Semitic. A few months ago, the ICC said it was going to investigate possible crimes against humanity committed in Gaza and the occupied territories. And then Israeli Prime Minister said the ICC is anti-Semitic. OK, so if we go back in history a few months ago when Donald Trump was president, he cancelled diversity training in federal institutions in the United States. And we have 31 countries that are boycotting this UN conference against racism. There are so many European countries as well. Doesn't it diminish the fight against racism if these nations aren't there?
Well, it's definitely regrettable that they are not there, but it is understandable because these regimes are the ones who created Israel in the first place. They are the ones who have been supporting it in its persecution of the Palestinian people under various pretexts. And it is regrettable, of course, that the Arab world has helped them maintain that position because of all the peace treaties conducted with the Israelis, including the Oslo Agreement conducted by the PLO with Israel, and before that, the Camp David Agreement between Egypt and Israel, and then after that, Jordan and Israel in Wadi Araba. And lastly, during the last few days of the Trump administration, the Abraham Accords with the UAE and Bahrain, and followed by Morocco and Sudan. Yet this should motivate people who love justice and freedom to continue the fight, to continue to bring awareness to the world about the true nature of this Zionist entity that has been occupying Palestine. It is racist to the core. It considers a Jew to be a superhuman who has a divine license to go to somebody else's country, like my mother's house, like my father's land, and take it just because they happen to be Jewish. This would be considered racist anywhere in the world. Imagine, I mean, somebody claiming that God gave them a license to kill or to persecute or to usurp somebody else's homeland.
Azzam, thank you so much. Always enjoy having you on the programme. Azzam Tamimi, British-Palestinian academic and political activist.